Sydney Sweeney thought she was stepping into a classic denim campaign. A simple photo shoot, a playful tagline, and a brand she had genuinely loved since her teenage years. Instead, she woke up inside a firestorm that no one, not even her team, saw coming. The American Eagle slogan, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes," turned into a battleground where meanings were twisted, narratives were invented, and the internet split into factions overnight. Commentators with huge platforms posted videos interpreting the ad in impossible ways. Hashtags exploded across social media. People who never watched her shows suddenly had opinions about her intentions. Accusations grew louder than facts, and critics pushed the idea that the ad was supposedly far deeper and darker than it really was. Sydney stayed quiet at first, trying to understand what had gone wrong. That silence became the fuel her critics needed. Every hour she did not respond was taken as another reason to escalate the narrative. Inside Hollywood, agencies whispered about the controversy. Studios watched to see how she would react. Fans begged her to speak, while others demanded an apology for something she did not even intend to say. A playful jeans ad had become a cultural flashpoint, and Sydney Sweeney had become the center of a conversation that had nothing to do with her real character. But she was not ready to break. Not yet. Something inside her said the truth would eventually surface. But she had no idea how long the chaos would last. Sydney thought silence would calm the storm. She assumed the controversy would fade, the noise would weaken, and people would move on. Instead, her silence became the spark that kept the fire alive. As The Hollywood Reporter explained, it did not cool the anger, it amplified it. Her silence widened the divide and let people build their own meaning around her. Absence, every platform started building theories. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Some said she was guilty. Others said she was scared. Many insisted she was avoiding accountability, even though there was nothing to be accountable for. Sydney watched all of it unfold from a distance while working on new projects, filming long days, and trying to ignore the growing chaos on social media. But the internet wanted answers. The controversy kept swelling rather than fading. People began rewriting the narrative, imagining motives behind a simple pun that was never meant to be anything more than a playful line about jeans. Sydney realized something important. Her silence was no longer neutrality. It had become someone else's weapon, a tool used to trap her inside a narrative that did not belong to her. News reported that Sydney genuinely did not follow all the online noise at first. She had assumed the reaction was temporary. She had assumed the world understood humor. She had assumed people would not twist something so harmless into something so hostile. She was wrong. And that realization changed everything. When Fox News highlighted the backlash, they emphasized how the criticism took on a life of its own. Suddenly, anonymous accounts were dissecting every frame of the ad. Viral posts claimed the campaign was coded. Conspiracy-style videos spread across TikTok. Commentators created drama for views. Every fresh upload brought new angles to the controversy. Fans defended her, but the critics were louder. The internet thrives on conflict. A controversy without evidence became a spectacle. People who had never seen her movies or shows had strong opinions about a single slogan. Some questioned why she did not respond, which turned into speculation, which then turned into hostility. Sydney felt the walls closing in. The world was speaking for her, interpreting her silence as acceptance of the accusations. She knew people were not angry at her. They were angry at the version of her created by internet strangers. She was watching herself become the villain in a story she did not write, behind closed doors. Her team debated whether to release a statement. Some believed silence was still the safest path. Others warned that silence had become the problem. Meanwhile, Sydney kept asking one question. How did a jeans pun turn into something this intense? At this point, she understood something. Once the internet chooses a narrative, the truth becomes background noise. If she did not speak soon, she risked being defined by something she never intended. There was a moment when Sydney realized she could not control the storm. Through silence, she saw how far the narrative had drifted from reality. Articles kept coming. Reaction videos multiplied faster than her team could track. Her name was trending in places she had never even been mentioned before. The Hollywood Reporter later described her shift. Sydney understood that silence was no longer an option. It was creating more harm than good. It was letting people believe she had something to hide. She had hoped maturity would keep her grounded. But sometimes honesty is the only power left. This was when she began preparing her response. Not rushed. Not emotional. Not defensive. She chose to speak with clarity. She chose to reclaim the story. She spent days examining every detail of the controversy. She looked at how people interpreted the ad, what critics claimed, and what supporters defended. She realized she needed to address the misinformation directly. Her voice had to be stronger than the confusion. This decision marked a personal shift for her. The world kept asking why she stayed quiet, but she was not avoiding responsibility. She was trying to protect herself from a toxic cycle that thrives on outrage. Now she understood something deeper. Staying silent was not protecting her, it was isolating her. The moment she decided to speak was the moment the narrative began to crumble. When Sydney finally spoke, E! News captured the moment clearly. She said she was genuinely surprised by the reaction. She explained that she loves jeans, she loves the brand, and nothing in the campaign was meant to symbolize anything deeper or darker. She spoke with sincerity, not theatrics. Her voice was calm, but firm. She said she never supports hate, she never supports division, and she never intended for anyone to feel targeted or offended. She also explained why she did not speak earlier. She believed the situation would resolve on its own. She believed people would understand the humor. She believed silence would lead to peace. But now she saw that silence had done the opposite. She said openly that her silence only widened the divide. She admitted she should have spoken sooner, and she regretted not clarifying earlier. The internet had misinterpreted her quiet as carelessness. In reality, she was trying to avoid feeding a cycle of outrage. Sydney's response did something powerful. It cut straight to the truth. It stripped away the noise, and it forced people to reconsider the narrative that had been building for months. Her message was simple. She is against hate. She believes in kindness. And she never meant the ad to represent anything except denim and confidence. The world finally heard her in her own words. Her statement triggered a new wave of coverage. The Hollywood Reporter highlighted her honesty, describing her reflection on silence as a rare moment of vulnerability from a rising Hollywood star. E! News praised her for finally stepping forward and confronting the misunderstanding. Fox News covered the controversy from a different angle, emphasizing how she pushed back against the attacks with strength and clarity. This time, the narrative began shifting in her favor. Many online users realized they had judged too quickly. Comment sections started filling with apologies. Some influencers even removed their earlier videos after realizing the controversy was built on a misinterpretation. It was a turning point. People finally saw the real story. They saw a young actress caught in the crossfire of online culture, where a simple mistake or misunderstanding can explode without warning. They saw someone who did not lash out or attack critics, but instead approached the situation with empathy and humility. Sydney's message resonated with both fans and neutral observers. People admired her restraint. They admired her honesty. And most importantly, they admired her ability to stay calm in a storm. That would have overwhelmed many others. Even though the controversy had started months earlier, Sydney's response showed that clarity can still cut through chaos. When spoken at the right moment, once Sydney's explanation spread across every major outlet, the narrative changed dramatically. She was no longer the target of an internet frenzy. She became the example of how a celebrity can respond thoughtfully during a controversy. Her honesty became the story. Her intention became clear. Her character became visible again. Fans celebrated her courage. Journalists acknowledged her transparency. The brand stood by her, confirming what she said was true, that the campaign was meant to be playful and nothing more. With the truth restored, Sydney regained control of her public image. But there was something deeper happening. This moment taught her how fragile public perception can be. She realized that silence can be misunderstood. She realized that internet narratives can expand far beyond reality. And she realized how important it is to speak when your voice is the only tool that can stop misinformation The controversy did not define her. Her response did. Sydney's comeback after the American Eagle storm is not just professional, it is personal. She has stepped into a phase where her confidence feels sharper. Her instincts feel stronger, and her understanding of the spotlight feels deeper than ever before. She now knows that fame carries two sides: admiration and scrutiny, applause and criticism, praise and misunderstanding. The controversy forced her to face this reality in a way she never expected, yet it prepared her for the future in a way nothing else could. As she moves forward, she carries a new awareness of how quickly narratives can spread. She has seen how a single phrase or tagline, even one meant to be playful, can become a global debate. She has seen how silence can be interpreted as guilt instead of patience. And she has seen how kindness can feel like a risk when the world is rushing to attack. But Sydney has chosen not to let fear guide her. She has chosen clarity, authenticity, and intention as her compass. People around her say she has changed. Not in a dramatic way, but in a focused and grounded way. She listens more closely. She responds more thoughtfully. She plans her words carefully without losing her honesty. She understands that her voice matters, and she no longer hesitates to use it when it is needed. The lessons she learned from the controversy have turned into strengths that now shape her as an actress and as a public figure. Most importantly, Sydney is learning to protect her peace. She is surrounding herself with people who understand her values, who support her growth, and who do not pressure her into reacting before she is ready. She is choosing roles that excite her, environments that inspire her, and conversations that reflect who she truly is. With every new project, she feels herself stepping further away from the noise of the past and closer to the future she has been working toward for years. In the end, the controversy became more than an internet debate. It became a chapter that tested her patience, her resilience, and her belief in herself. Sydney walked through the fire and came out refined. She proved that a misunderstanding cannot break someone who knows their truth. And now, she stands not only as a rising star, but as a reminder that even in the harshest spotlight, authenticity can shine brighter than any rumor.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into Hollywood's hidden history.